Do you ever jolt awake at 3 a.m. with this sickening realization that you've been running in circles for years? That no matter how hard you hustle, you're still staring at the same ceiling, same doubts, same maybe tomorrows? I did too, for 35 years. My name's Jeff, and I chased promotions that left me empty. I burned myself out for people who wouldn't remember my name. Wasted years waiting for some magical someday that never came. Until one morning, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the exhausted stick figure staring back at me. Turns out, life doesn't give you lessons, it gives you scars. And these are the ones that changed everything. Starting with the most dangerous lie you've been sold about success. See, we all think talent is the golden ticket, that some people are just born lucky. But what if I told you your brain's been lying to you this whole time? Lesson 1. Your mindset shapes your reality. That voice in your head whispering, "You're not good enough," it's not just doubt, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. For years, I thought successful people had some secret I didn't. Then I met enough of them to realize the truth. They weren't smarter or luckier. They just refused to entertain the same toxic daydreams that held me hostage. Here's the brutal part. Every time you tell yourself, "I can't," your brain obediently gets rid of all the opportunities in front of you to prove you right. That promotion you didn't go for, the idea that you knew you would fail, those weren't reality. They were just stories you convinced yourself were true. The fix isn't positive thinking, it's ruthless editing. Start cutting the sentences in your head that begin with, "I'm the kind of person who," and watch how the universe suddenly starts handling you better material to work with. Of course, none of that matters if you're still waiting for permission to use those scissors. Lesson 2. No one is coming to save you. And that's the thing. We all wait for permission. Permission from our boss, from our parents, from some imaginary rule book that says, now you're allowed to succeed. Here's the truth. That permission slip doesn't exist. I spent years waiting for a mentor to discover me, for a lucky break to change everything. Want to know what happened? Absolutely nothing. Thankfully, I realized one day that the people I admired didn't have special advantages. They simply decided their time was now. No perfect conditions, no magical sign, just a stubborn refusal to keep waiting for a rescue that was never coming. The moment you stop waiting is the moment your life actually begins. But here's the catch. Wanting isn't enough. You need to show up even when every fiber of your body is screaming for the couch. Lesson 3. Discipline beats motivation. And that feeling isn't laziness, it's your brain's biological wiring trying to conserve energy. And it has a powerful ally, motivation. The most unreliable narrator of your life story. For years, I thought productive people were just wired differently. Then I discovered their secret. They've stopped waiting to feel ready. They've made peace with the truth. Motivation doesn't start the engine. It's what you earn by turning the key regardless. Here's how to outsmart your biology. Start smaller than your resistance expects. 2 minutes of this. Open that document. Put on those running shoes. The magic happens when you realize that starting wasn't the hurdle. It was the whole race. Because what nobody tells you about success is that it's not about giant leaps. Lesson 4. Small daily improvements equal massive results. It's about the invisible math of 1% improvements adding up while no one's watching. We're obsessed with overnight transformations, but real change works like compound interest, silent and unstoppable. I used to judge my progress in dramatic before and afters until I learned this. The most powerful changes happen in increments too small to photograph. That single page written every morning? That's a book in a year. Those 5 minutes of daily stretching? That's a pain-free back by summer. That 10 minutes spent every night doing Duolingo? That's a new language in 12 months' time. The secret isn't intensity, it's consistency. You have to show up even when the results are invisible. Because here's the paradox. The smaller your daily effort, the bigger your eventual transformation. And this is where most people self-destruct. Lesson 5. Failure is not the opposite of success. They mistake failure for the end of the story instead of the rough draft. Here's the truth no one admits. Every success story is just a failure with better editing. I used to treat mistakes like grenades. Drop one and everything blows up. Then I met enough people at the top to realize their resumes were just the polished versions of their greatest disasters. The difference wasn't that they fell less, but that they learned how to fall forward. Your worst moments aren't proof that you can't succeed. They're the only way to discover what actually works. Because failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the fee you pay for it. And here's what happens when you finally understand that. Lesson 6. Your habits shape your future. Your habits stop being chores and start becoming your competitive edge. Because while everyone's out chasing motivation, you'll be collecting compound interest on autopilot. I used to think discipline was about grinding through really tough tasks. Then I discovered the cheat code. Make your habits so small they're laughable. Floss one tooth. Do 2 push-ups. Like this video. Haha, gotcha. But no, seriously. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. It goes a long way and I'd really appreciate it. Now, these aren't goals. They're tiny seeds that grow while you're not even watching. The magic happens when you realize it's not about what you do today, but what you keep doing without thinking. Small daily choices build the person you can't even imagine being yet. Which raises an uncomfortable question. Lesson 7. The people around you affect your success. Who's been writing your life script without your permission? Here's the confronting truth. You're the average of the 5 people you tolerate most. And if that thought just made your stomach drop, good. That's your gut recognizing a fact. I used to think I was immune to other people's energy. Then I noticed something terrifying. On days I spent with complainers, my dreams felt smaller. After time with doers, impossible ideas started seeming simple. Your brain is constantly taking silent notes from your surroundings on what's possible. This isn't about cutting people out. It's about being ruthless with who gets front row seats to your life. Because the right tribe doesn't just support your dreams, they expand what you believe you're allowed to want. Which leads to something most people ignore. Lesson 8. Health is the foundation of everything. You can't outrun a toxic environment if your own body's working against you. Here's the savage reality most people learn too late. No amount of success tastes good when you're too tired to enjoy it. I used to pull all-nighters all the time. I'd wear them like badges of honor, brag about them to my friends. That is, until I crashed so hard my hands shook typing emails. Turns out, burning the candle at both ends doesn't make you brighter. It just leaves you holding burnt scraps. Your brain on poor sleep? That's a CEO trying to run a Fortune 500 company from a kindergarten chair. Health isn't vanity. It's your operating system. 1 hour earlier to bed, walking while taking calls, swapping that 3rd coffee for water. Tiny upgrades compound into the energy that makes everything else possible. And this brings us to the most misunderstood tool. Lesson 9. Money is a tool, not a goal. Money. It doesn't buy happiness, but used wrong, it absolutely rents misery. Here's what no one tells you about cash. It magnifies who you already are. Broke and miserable? More money just means nicer stuff to cry in. I learned this the hard way when my first big paycheck arrived, and I immediately spent it trying to fill a confidence hole that no amount of designer labels could patch. Money is like fire, a terrible master, but an incredible servant. The shift happens when you stop asking, how much do I want? And start asking, what do I want it for? Freedom? Security? Experiences? That's when dollars stop being scorecards and start becoming building blocks. Which leaves just one question. Lesson 10. Start now, there's no perfect time. If not now, when exactly were you planning to start living? Here's the secret we're seemingly never taught. Being ready is a myth sold by people who want you to stay exactly where you are. I spent years waiting for Monday, for New Year's, for some imaginary version of myself who'd magically have it all figured out. Then one Tuesday, I realized that person wasn't coming. The only perfect moment is the one you create by starting. Not next month, not tomorrow, today, right now, this second. Because life isn't a dress rehearsal. Every later you say yes to is a now you say no to. So here's your final assignment. Conclusion. Pick one lesson, just one, and apply it before sunset. Not perfectly, not completely, just start. That's how 35 years of wisdom filters down into one life-changing truth. You don't need more time, more motivation, or more permission. You just need to use what you already have. The clock's been ticking this whole time. The only question left is, will today finally be the day you stop watching life through someone else's highlight reel? Will today finally be the day you press play on your own? Thanks for watching.